guys. Tasteless and GTR here in day 2 of Pro League 2016. There we are, got it right, there we are.
Oh my god, that photo is so
We're
cute.
a mismatched couple, brother.
Wow.
So we are going to be going into 2 more team matches. They will be best of 5. We know what those matches will be, with the exception of the ace match, if we do get that far.
For sure, as we have really interesting lineups for this series that we have here. Jin Air against MVP Chicken Maru. We have to remember that SOS is in Taipei right now for IEM. But I'm not going to spoil the results of the match.
I am. We can spoil it.
Okay, go ahead.
Of course we can spoil it. SOS just won. I'm not going to go cater to the people that want to. I'm not going to speak in riddles and mysteries for the guys on the internet that want these terms to be separate. SOS just won. He kicked ass. It was a fantastic finals. I was watching it on the train right down here. I hope you guys enjoyed that finals, and I hope many of you stay with us here for Pro League, because today is going to be fantastic as well.
For sure. So as a result of SOS not being here today, Jin Air is actually bringing out a really strong lineup. Even though they have 6 players in their roster and one of them not available in SOS, they're still putting out a pretty impressive entry for today against MVP Chicken Maru.
Yeah, SOS getting Shrek'd in a Code A. I got to say, it's good to see him in another league that he can do well in. That was pretty cool.
For sure. As we see both teams, Jin Air with their small lineup of 5 players, and MVP led by the legendary coach Choya.
In this shot, it's Choya versus the entire Jin Air Green Wings team. Can he take it?
He's ready to play
a 1 versus 5.
1 versus 5. I remember there was a GSL cast that you did, and you're not the GSL, but one of those GOM classics where you're talking about
I was pretending to translate.
You're translate. It's like you can't even have 9 players in one game.
Yeah, I remember that. That's old. That's somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old
Tasteless
stuff
translating on YouTube. Search that.
That's right. I think that's about 8 years old, man.
As we're about to get on camera in just a second.
You get to see our handsome mugs.
There we go. Hello, guys. How you doing?
There we are. It's us. We're back.
We're back, yeah.
I'm super excited about our matches today. Yesterday, we did have a 3-0 clean sweep, and then we went on to a much closer series.
Yeah, if you
quite nice.
If you did not catch those games between KT and Samsung, I definitely would suggest checking those out, especially TY versus Solo. That game was incredible. Yeah,
that was a real treat. Onto our matches. Excuse me. Onto our matches here today. And getting a closer look, here are the Jin Air Green Wings. I think they're MVP, it's easy to say, is SOS, but they got guys like Maru, they got guys like Rogue. In fact, all 6 of them are fantastic players. On a bigger team roster, MVP Chicken Maru.
I like my fried chicken in Korea, but talking about MVP here, they've got a really solid lineup. They've got those legends such as Gumiho, such as Seed, Ryung recently joining MVP, but I'm not really sure if they're going to take any games off Jin Air Green Wings. They have a really strong lineup that they're facing against. As we see here on screen, our entry for today, we'll be opening Maru against Blaze on Dusk Towers. Following that will be Rogue against Ryung on Lower Lake Crest. Creator versus Departure will be the 3rd game, and if needed, it will be Cure versus Forte on Prime Terraces.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. I mean, starting off with Maru, I think pretty much everybody can agree that Maru should come out dominating here, and Rogue, such a strong player. The only one I was really on the fence was actually our 3rd one-on-one. I think there is a possibility of Creator to lose to Departure.
The thing is, we haven't really seen Creator play that much since joining Jin Air Green Wings, so we're not really sure what kind of form he's in right now. Departure's no slouch of a Zerg. He's actually pretty good of a player, so...
Yeah, I mean, they certainly could pull something through here. Will they manage to beat all of Jin Air Green Wings? I think that's a pretty tall order.
So we'll talk about the first game for a bit. We'll talk about Maru versus Blaze, aka Panic. It's going to be really interesting to see how Blaze does. He is the underdog in this game. Especially with the depth nerfs, maybe some of his strategies that he's prepared over the past week have gone out the window because of the patch that just came out. But that being said, Maru has struggled lately at the end of Heart of the Swarm and coming to Legacy of the Void. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes in his first game Pro League here today.
Yeah, Maru, though, it's so cool, actually, every time I get to cast Maru, because I've been casting this guy for a long time. Back when he was a little kid who was still really good. And granted, he is still pretty young, especially compared to us. Especially compared to me, I'm a dinosaur as far as esports years go. But you know, I think Maru's got a very strong chance of doing well. Not a bad pick, though, here for the first player to come out here on MVP. You can see Blaze has had some solid games, especially in Pro League. But definitely a confident guy, has the experience coming in here. But Maru just tends to a little bit, you know who Maru reminds me a lot of is TY in some ways. Not so much in their strategies, but in the mechanics of how they play. I mean, they're just very good at control, very good at whittling down their opponents.
Yes, they're very good at multitasking, and if you saw the game from yesterday, TY's multitasking was so good. We might see the same thing from Maru.
Sick.
Yeah, definitely catch that game if you haven't already, as I said before, but we'll see how Maru approaches this game against Blaze, because Blaze, even though he hasn't performed well in individual leagues, he is a very good sniper, as we've seen previously in the past with GSTL and StarTale when he was Panic.
I like what you're saying there. He's definitely somebody who could have a strategy prepared and executed quite well. I mean, in one game, you can take somebody out pretty quickly. It's not like you have to have, you know, 7 solid maps sorted out in your head and how to trick them and throw in red herrings for what your builds are, all that jazz. Our game has actually loaded up. We're ready to do this. Again, guys, a best of 5. We will end it with the team that gets the first 3 wins, although hopefully we will be going to the ace match. I would love to see that. These two guys, though, duking it out. Historically, Maru, a player who's come out on top.
As we see here, Maru, 4 games in favor of 1 to Blaze, as we see both players here, Maru and Blaze. Map is Dusk Towers, as we see the predictions here, they actually got us wrong, but looks like we're all predicting
Why am I Valdez here?
You're Valdez.
I will not stand for this.
There we go.
There we go. All right, there we go.
It's still the same predictions.
I'm back.
So we're all...
I'm back, guys.
Yeah, we're all actually...
Tasteless was almost usurped.
By Valdez.
By Valdez.
But
Valdez, by the way, he will be back here with us at Pro League. He's on vacation visiting his family. We've had all the casters out here on a rotation of who's going home and who's coming back over here to Korea. So, yeah, you'll be seeing Valdez, and Wolf will be back as well. We just got a super booked schedule here. And also, GTR, good to have you here as well, brother.
Thank you.
And Tasteless, good to have you here as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's do it in the upper right. Excuse me, in the bottom left now. We have our Terran player Maru in the upper right. Our Protoss player. This is really exciting, man.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see Maru play.
I'm still not used to how fast we do these intros here, by the way. I'm used to kind of dragging it out and having to time it out. Like
and then the person, Guri, saying the names of the players as well.
That's right, that's right.
Got to wait for it to come. But onto this game, as we see here, standard so far, Dusk Towers is one of those large maps where, as we mentioned time and time again, it favors... you have that expansion at the back of your base, so you have that flexibility of going for that early command center and Nexus if you opt to. But it looks like, in this case here, between Maru and Blaze, I was going to say Panic for a second, looks like they're just going for the safe option, going for their gateway and barracks first with that gas, respectively.
Blaze, yeah, he did have an ID change. And what was his ID before?
Panic.
Panic. I hate it when they change their IDs, man.
It just makes it hard on all of us.
It messes with my brain.
And that's something that we just tell players, like I think...
It's specifically a problem in Korea, especially if you watch players that weren't on the GSL as much, because... you know, they actually started using the player IDs when I moved to Korea. That's when I told them we need to start calling them by their player IDs.
Yeah.
That's true, guys. Little bit of history.
So, for example, if you go on the street and you say, do you know Slay's Boxer? It's like, no. It's like, oh, do you know Im Yohan? It's like, yeah, right. Everyone knows Im Yohan.
But now with StarCraft 2 out, and the tasteless doctrine out there now, we need to refer to them as by their IDs, they get much more attention in that regard. It's better, basically, for the international scene because, you know, names like, whatever, Nesty, Maru, all these names, these have more stickiness in the mind of somebody who's a non-Korean.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, you're going to remember that name.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's better overall in the same way that if you have a player, let's say from Europe, let's say a name like Naniwa, okay? A Korean's going to remember that much better than
Johan Luchesi.
Whatever Naniwa's name actually is. I actually don't know what his real name is. I refer to everybody in my head, even Artosis. I think of as Artosis and not Dan. Basically, it's like everybody's a superhero in my mind, okay? It's not like, Clark Kent, it's Superman, okay? It's not Bruce Wayne, it's Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, as we see here, reacted barracks here from Maru. No surprises, trying to get those Marines out quickly. And a Stargate here from, I was going to say Panic again, I'm really sorry. Blaze. Looks like he wants to get either an early Phoenix or Oracle out. We'll see what tech he decides to go to. But he's actually deviating from the norm that we've seen recently in PvT, where Protosses, they like to get that early War Prism out from that robotics facility, get the
this is one they've done a little bit of. They do like to get the Oracle sometimes with the Adept here. And, I mean, we've seen some variations of it. Yeah, there's that Oracle. And sometimes they hit in the back with the Oracle while they try to go up to the front. But with the Adept not having the same amount of muscle, I don't think the Adept can terrorize the Terran anywhere near as much.
Oh, that Reaper manages to get into the base of Blaze. Let's see if he can stay outside Stargate. Ooh, nice grenade there as well.
He sees everything. The Reaper's taken out. Well. Yeah, and he sees the Oracle is being manufactured. So right now, Terran is going to be able to prepare for this. Not MVP, excuse me, Blaze. Now I'm like second guessing everything. Now I'm saying like he's a Terran player. Blaze is going to go ahead and expand. He would be doing that whether or not the Reaper found him. That's the phase in which you do expand. Since you're putting pressure on the Terran on 2 bases, the Protoss is free to expand in this build, in this strategy, in the current meta.
As we see here, actually, Medevac and Widow Mines being produced from that factory, but for a period of time there, Maru was actually supply blocked a bit, so those Widow Mines will be quite delayed as that Oracle barely makes it out. We see Stimpack research here from Maru, as well as an engineering bay for that Oracle if it decides to come back with those turrets.
Nicely done back there. We have more gateways coming down the robotics facility as Blaze begins to beef up on everything that he's got in his tech tree, especially with that robotics. You want to be able to get those robo units. He is banking Phoenixes, by the way.
I really like that move, banking Phoenixes, because there's not really much that Maru has on the map right now. He's only got these Widow Mines. They don't really do that much damage to buildings. They only just hit, well, they don't do damage to buildings at all, but he's actually getting double Liberators, actually, so I think he's going to...
I think he's going to go on the offense here. This is interesting. I'm really curious about how this works.
Yeah.
Because he gets 1 medevac. I mean, that does help heal if the medevac can actually meet up with him, but, with 2 Liberators out, he could definitely get a foothold somewhere here where he might be able to lock him out. The Oracle getting low.
Ooh, that was really close there. Cast the Revelation there because they thought that he was going to lose that Oracle, but he doesn't lose it in the end. We'll see how much damage these Widow Mines do. I'm not sure if there's an observer nearby for Blaze.
Yeah, I don't think there's an observer actually out.
He's just building one right now.
He's starting one now. He got the Warp Prism first. That's also pretty common for Protoss. What's not as common is what Maru's doing, at least from what I've seen in this matchup. He's going to come forward. He has Stim done just in time. That's going to gun down all these Oracles. He can drop the Widow Mines right here in the front of the Warp, and this could be a huge problem as they finish up, and they connect beautifully.
Sick timing there from Maru, going in while that Stim was just about finished. And these Liberators are actually going to camp behind the mineral lines of Blaze, and without that bulk Stalker army to deflect these Liberators, those Liberators are going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he's stopping them from mining. He might be able to poke up a little bit further here. This is a great job utilizing the structure of this map here, since he can punish these locations. So income right now for Blaze has been slowed down. Maru not too quick with moving that. I was going to say moving that Liberator. He just keeps that there. It does get 1 more probe, and then it's shot down.
Yep, so that Phoenix is going to work on that Liberator at the back expansion of Blaze, as Blaze is currently stabilizing right now, deflecting off that initial attack from Maru. Maru, on the other hand, knowing that he has control of the game so far, opting to take that 3rd base, get those upgrades going, get those extra barracks up.
Nice pickup. He does back up. The Liberator has been gunned down as the 2nd Phoenix meets up with the 1st. Blink now being upgraded. This is probably, once Blink's done, it's going to be the moment that it's going to be diminishing returns here if Maru keeps trying to harass, especially if the Stalkers could actually catch the medevacs while they're transporting those Marines inside of them.
So we'll see how much damage this drop does from Maru. Marines, Marauders rather, dropping into the back of the mineral line of Blaze. And we'll see how Blaze reacts to this, because that is a lot of units from Maru.
All right, he's coming up now. He does pick up a boost back out. Oh, hit on the mothership core. Nicely done. Actually, that Widow Mine's still there.
Yeah,
okay, I thought for a second he might actually turn around too quickly.
As we see here, Medivacs actually dropping in, and also a drop here at the back from Blaze. Adept's doing a bit of damage on the STVs right now. Is he actually going to lose that Warp Freeze? Yes, he does, but Maru, on the other hand, is doing a counter-attack, so we've got to see how these two players deflect these attacks.
Maru dropping everywhere at once. There are enough Medivacs here. He can actually pull out, managing to back away. Slowly but surely, Maru's actually beginning to get a greater army. You can see that, in fact, Blaze is not even quite spending his money for the time being. He's actually banked up a good amount. I think that's in part because he's trying to juggle all these different tasks in defending this attack.
You also have to remember that some of the gateways of Blaze are unpowered because Maru managed to snipe them. So unfortunately for him, he loses a few production cycles from those unpowered gateways, as we see more Liberator harassment from Maru here. I think this is at the point of the game where we can clearly see the out multitasking abilities of both players, because Maru is doing way more damage than Blaze so far.
Yeah, I really like it. And he's just going to keep going ham on these probes, getting as many kills as he possibly can. Once the Liberator gets in its proper form, it's going to deal damage so quickly. We see a big gateway explosion here happening for Blaze, since he's now mining from all of his 3 bases for the whole time. Now, since Terran was harassing so much, the minerals are starting to kick in. He also was a little bit behind in spending as well. It doesn't seem as though Maru is interested in letting up, though, on the pressure.
It seems that Maru wants to keep Blaze on the back foot. He wants to stop Blaze from getting a 4th base, because he knows that once he gets to that 4th base, he can easily afford those upper tech units that Protoss isn't renowned for. But see Oracle just sniping some SCVs building supply depots there, which is quite a cute move. But as that Oracle runs away and this Liberator fights these Phoenixes.
Oh, he's stimming. This is a pretty big army there for Protoss. He's got 3 Immortals in the bag. Needs to keep those alive for as long as possible. But the rest of the army here for Protoss is getting obliterated just too quickly. Can he target down that 1 Immortal? It's getting lower. He does micro it back, though. The Warpin's coming here in the front. Meanwhile, Liberator over here in the back. There is just too much here for Maru.
Yeah, it seems that Maru saw the fact that Blaze was building a lot of gateways at one time, and knowing that those gateways weren't going to be up with that warp gate tech, he saw and window opportunity to move in and do as much damage as he could before those gateways came in, and Blaze being able to warp in a lot of units.
All right, we have Liberators setting up over here, and he's doing a really good job. Actually, he's pressuring this pylon. He wants to try to take this out. If he gets rid of that, it's going to be no more Immortals, and he will edge up, and it does go down. And I think that is going to be at least the beginning of the end here. If he moves these Liberators up any further, well, actually, you can see Protoss can't even quite deal with it. He can just keep cutting. There we go. Liberator getting set up right over here. That's going to clean up the rest of this. I think we're going to see GG any second now.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for Blaze to deal with these Liberators that have been deployed at the 3rd base of Blaze, and Maru just has way too many units rallied over to the base of Blaze, and I'm not really sure what much Blaze can do right now.
Yeah, that's going to be it. GG. Maru takes out Blaze in a very convincing game.
Yeah, really impressive there from Maru. I really like the Liberator use, delaying those minerals of Blaze when he was mining. There wasn't really much that I can fault Blaze. I think he just got outplayed that game.
Yeah, I think so. Maru just played very well. That build at the start was interesting. It did seem like there was a period where Blaze was able to stabilize, but he wasn't spending his money quite as quickly as ideally he would be. And I don't know, you know, it was pretty rough. I mean, Maru was really everywhere. Even our observer was having a hard time keeping up with those Liberators, which kept hitting base after base after base. You gotta think, even though Blaze was doing a decent job of not losing too many probes, they're transferring back and forth. That's a lot of lost mining time whenever they're not at those minerals as well.
definitely, as Maru winning there quite convincingly, 1-0 to Genia Green Wings. Our next match will be Rogue against Ryong, and I'm actually pretty excited for this match because we haven't seen much of Ryong since he joined MVP. New team, new start, and if he's on the entry list for today, it seems that Choya has a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, that's very true. Choya, a very good coach. Guy's very focused. A really good mentor to the rest of his players. He was a great Brood War player, and then he also ended up going into Starcraft 2 early on as a pro gamer, and had a good amount of success. I mean, he wasn't like a champion, but he was a solid player. And then eventually he stepped back, decided he was older, he wanted to take more of a mentor role, and that's when he became a coach.
As we're on camera right now, hello everyone.
Hello guys. I'm like laying back, like just talking to you. I'm like sitting here eating chips, and they're just like slowly getting on my chest. Good to have you guys with us. That first game really showing you that this is going to be a very, very tough day here for MVP.
So it seems that that first game could be an indication to see how the rest of the day for MVP is going to be, if it's going to end up something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Maru is probably the best that there is on the team. I don't think there's a lot of people who would disagree with what I'm saying just there. But overall, I mean, Jinner's just got a lot of good players. They've just got a lot of good players.
Like, even though their roster is very small, and even though SOS is not here, they still have a lot of good players, as you mentioned before. I mean, Creator that recently just joined, as we saw before, Maru, Rogue that we're going to see now, and Trap as well, Cure as well. Yeah, I mean,
it's just really scary. I would not be surprised if we have another 3-0. I would not be surprised if this actually ends up looking pretty similar to what yesterday looked like. Later on today, we might have closer matches, but I mean, let's not count MVP out.